Hi folks, hope you're well. I thought I'd take the opportunity this evening to have a beer and answer some questions. So stick around and I'm going to give you an update on the roof. Right, I didn't manage to get a video out this week because I simply had an endless amount of stuff, both work and also on the roof. And I'm working with the weather, or should I say against the weather, because it's been pretty rubbish lately. I definitely had the good weather when I needed it, when I was stripping the roof, but it's kind of got in the way of play at the moment. But that said, this last couple of days has been a bit better. Next week looks okay, so hopefully I can make a start on the joinery and all the sort of painting and things like that. But first of all, I wanted to answer the biggest question, which is why on earth are you doing it on your own? Number one is the schedule. If I'm doing it myself, then I've only got myself to blame, and it means I can take it at a pace which works best for filming and also best around my other kind of commitments. And I think for me, the fact that I've done just about everything else in this house, from insulating the cellar and the floors on the ground floor to converting the loft and kind of work my way all the way up, I really wanted to see it off. Not that it's the last thing to do, but it was just a big part of the house that I just felt like if I can tackle the rest of the house, I'd love to have a go at tackling the roof. Also, because I already converted that loft space from the inside, I knew there were going to be little bits that I needed to tweak or change once I had the roof off. And if I had roofers in, they'd be so efficient that 3 or 4 of them would have stripped the roof membrane on the same day, and I just either wouldn't have had the chance to get in there and sort out any little bits of insulation on replacing timbers and things, or I would have been getting in the way and holding up their work to do it. And with filming as well, it was just better to do it at my own pace. So that's why I went solo. Would I do it again? Unless I could be guaranteed that spell of dry weather, then no, I would probably have at least 2 people alongside me, just for efficiency, to get it all off the roof and get the membrane on the same day. And that's kind of the key. As long as you've got a backup, then you can do it over 2 days. So if you've got a big enough tarp or the membrane or something that you can get over it for a temporary solution, then okay. But if you really had a big downpour, you don't really want to be trusting a tarp and it sagging between rafters and dumping a load of water into the house. So lots of reasons why it's not a sensible idea, but for me that was one of the main ones. As far as cost goes, I've had quotes from everything from about £20,000 for everything all in, down to probably around £5,000 to £6,000 for kind of labour only, or labour and battens and fixings type pricing. And I could kind of break it all down and see where money was going, and I didn't feel bad about those quotes, but if I could do it myself, then there was a bit of money to be saved. Now, in all honesty, I won't tell Joe this, but the money that I've probably saved by not paying people to do it, I've kind of reinvested into the roof. So I haven't saved myself a cash amount, really. I've just got a better roof for my money. So the money that I would have had to scrimp and save on to pay other people to do the roof has instead gone towards going with kind of much better quality timbers and paint systems, new guttering, cleaning and repointing all of the stonework on the house. That's something I probably wouldn't have been able to do, time and budget, whereas now I think time isn't on my side, but I think with the help of a friend who's going to come and give me a hand, raking out the whole of the west gable wall and repointing that in lime is going to be possible. So there's just loads of different elements that I'm hoping to get in now I've freed up a little bit of the budget that we would have had to spend on other people. And finally, the third reason why I wanted to do the roof is because I wanted to do a roof. I think, in the future, if I'm going to take on a small project house or something, or maybe we did another house and we got roofers in, I want to be at a point in a mindset and an understanding that I know what they're talking about, or know what is going on, and the build-up of a roof and things like that. And of course, all roofs are different. But I think having done one, you can kind of tick that box and know that you've roofed a house. And that's just a crazy box that I wanted to tick. A few more questions. Scaffolding. The scaffolding quotes, again, were quite varied. This was, I think, 1,900, I think. So just under £2,000 all in. And that was for 8 weeks. And we're about halfway, pretty much bang on halfway through that at the moment. So it's getting to a point now where I really need to ramp up, my efforts to get everything done, not have to pay the fees or the kind of higher fees that kick in after 8 weeks, because then you pay, I think it's 5%. So, it does rack up if you just let it roll on. The slates themselves, so what we pulled off the roof have all been sorted and stacked. I haven't counted them actually, but there's a good amount there, 2 pallets worth stacked vertically, whatever that accounts to. And now I have been offered in the past, when I was researching the roof a year or two ago, I think £1 a slate or something like that. They're large 24 by 12 Welsh slate. I could try and sell them privately, or I could save them and possibly use them for a project here. Maybe the workshop roof, but I'm thinking that's probably too shallow for slate. But either way, the reason why I didn't want to reuse the slate for the main roof is that I was always going to come up short. I probably would have had enough maybe to do 1/2 again. So I would have had to buy half of the roof's worth of slate. Now if I was to buy that and reclaimed slate to match, it would never match completely, then I would have ended up spending more than I would have buying a whole new roof of new slate. And to put that into context, if you go to the reclamation yard and I wanted a 24 by 12 slate, they're kind of between £2.50 and £3, I think, around here. Maybe I could hunt down, a little bit cheaper than that. But that's pretty much double what I'm paying for a slightly smaller slate, but new. So I would have had the issues of matching up the sides. So yes, I could split them 2 sides of the roof and you'd never see them together. But either way, you're dealing with older slate. And also, yes, slate can live forever, and I say forever, it can live for over 100 years. These have done 100 years. There's nothing to say that they wouldn't do another 100, but equally the failure rate is going to increase. So we saw just in the last 3 years of us being here 7, more and more of them were starting to either slip or crack, and I just felt like that might start becoming more frequent in the future. So I wanted to future-proof the house, and my sole aim for all of the work that I'm doing is to basically put a 50-year roof on the house. Yes, there might be a little bit of maintenance, another coat of paint or something like that, but the paint system on the guttering is a 40-year type deal. The paint that we're using on the fascias behind me and the barge boards and stuff, that should last. It's a really high quality, and it's a linseed paint. It's completely breathable. It's going to basically do what the original lead paint was doing, and that managed to preserve what was up there pretty well. And also the roof covering, whatever it says on the brochure, I don't know, but most slate tends to be guaranteed for 75, 80, 90, 100 years. So hopefully what's going up there is there for the long run. And that's kind of the approach I've taken. But all I've done is I've just looked back at how the roof was built and almost just done exactly the same again. Yes, we've got a membrane this time. But apart from that, I'm using redwood all around. I'm using metal guttering. I'm using a linseed paint. All of these things would have basically been what was put there in the first place. And because I could see firsthand what had lasted and how, if there were any issues, I could work out why they went wrong. I've basically just tried to do the same again, because the Victorians weren't stupid about it, and they managed to make a decent roof first time round. Now, talking of the products I'm using, there's a couple of collaboration videos coming up, one of which is possibly tomorrow or this weekend's video. It's going to be the membrane that's going on. I used Reef Shield, which is a really well-known membrane. You see it, you drive past bright green roof as it's being put on. So that's what I've gone with, and there's a load of reasons why that's a really good solution for our roof. And when I got talking to them, we came up with an idea for a video. So that's going to be coming out. I've also got the next stage, which will be all of this timber behind me, and I've got, I don't know, 40 lengths of really good quality redwood here. It's really slow grown. It's basically a very, very similar timber to what was up on the roof, which lasted so well. I debated hardwoods and trichoya and akoya and all those kind of more expensive options, but more unnecessary is the word I'm trying to look for, because actually the wood's only as good as the paint, and really if you get that bit right, a really high quality redwood like this is really quite all that it needs to be for the roof. I over researched it, and when I came back to it I just thought, well, what was up there and how did it survive? And you saw those early videos on the roof where I was almost contemplating keeping the fascias that were up there. They were rock solid, and maybe 5% had been lost to rot. The barge boards were a bit more exposed, and they'd been capped with plastic, which had actually made things worse. But that's why I went this route. So we've got redwood, we've got a really nice colour, which I'm now being able to colour match for other items for the roof. We've got the guttering ordered, so that cast aluminium guttering which we had on the back of the house, which was mixed in with some cast iron. I really like that, so some of that I've managed to get down, preserved and ready to get powder coated, or blast cleaned and then powder coated. I've managed to find the manufacturer of that stuff, and we're going to order the same stuff for where we need it on the roof. So everything should then tie in colour and still be in sort of a heritage, original looking shape. Right, where are we with questions? Yeah, so I've had quite a few people offer to come and give me a hand, and I love the idea of having people working on projects, and I hope that one day that might happen. But for me, for the roof, when Joe and I were talking about it a few months back, although we knew that the help would be there and people would be offering, we just felt that there's always a bit of risk working on a roof, albeit up there with the scaffolding out, it's a pretty controlled and safe environment. But there's just a bit of a liability issue there, and until we really think that through and have things in place, we didn't want to go that route. But if you are one of those people that have messaged me, emailed me, or got in contact on Instagram to suggest coming over and giving me a hand, thank you, it's really kind, and one day I promise that we will have some sort of big team event, or I will be able to take people up on their offers. Question about building control. Yeah, if you're doing more than, I don't know what it is, 10-20% of your roof, or improvements to the roof, then building control kicks in. Our guy was round looking at the stone wall when I did that, and I talked through the roofing with him. So they're going to come out on Monday, and they just check at a couple of stages. It's more about the insulation than anything, and because I've already put 150 mil of PIR in there at that initial stage a few years back, and that's all visible still. That was kind of the main bit that they want to tick off, and I guess the rest is just the normal sort of protocols as far as the roofing goes. But I'm not actually sure what they want to see, but we'll find out on Monday, and I'll let you know. A non-roof related comment here is about the workshop. I ordered the workshop timbers back in March, and then everything happened. So I don't know how and when I'm going to build the workshop. It will be one of the next things to do. Valley Sawmills, who cut the beams, you might have seen in the last video, they're going to store them in the barn there. So there's no real hurry. But as soon as I've finished on the roof, then hopefully I can make a start on the workshop. Another good question, solar panels. Are we doing solar? The answer should be yes, but I've gone to this length of trying to restore the roof, not just put a new roof on there and bung solar panels all over it. I kind of want this original look to the house now, and there was only one way I could achieve that, really, and that would be PV slates. And there is a supplier just over the bridge over in Cardiff who make them. They I think come in 10 by 20 slate size as well, and they're a really amazing product. If you look, you might have seen Tesla type products, which are not in the UK yet, but there's some benefits to the company I'm on about. GB Sol, I think they were called, or Sol GB, and they've been in the game for a long time, longer than Tesla. Anyway, they make these slates, and there's some being put down in here in Somerset. You can go right to the edge of the roof, or you can just do a section and leave a border of natural slate around. And I think it could have been quite sympathetically done. That said, the cost of them is quite considerably more. It's about double the price of a conventional big, panel system that you put over the roof, or even the big panels that you put in the roof. They were the only ones I would have considered. I did talk to them and get a price. I can't remember. It was somewhere about £12,000 for a 4K system, which is pretty much double, if not a bit more. And I just felt with the feed-in tariff not really existing anymore, and we wouldn't have been able to afford a battery type setup, the benefits were reducing every time I thought about it. It's a nice kind of selling point or a nice feature to the house, but I'm not sure, unless we were going to have a huge big system up there with a battery as well, it would have cost more than the whole roof put together. But that said, I'd love to use them in the future. They also, because I mentioned that we'd love to kind of video the install, and they were pretty categorically saying they didn't want any video of their slates going in because of patents and intellectual property rights and all that sort of stuff. It's quite a, you can imagine that sort of field of technology is pretty tightly guarded, so it was just not really a goer. But that said, we're going to have solar thermal, hopefully, which we can put on this roof here beside the house. That obviously is a much smaller space, and I've got a solar coil ready in our tank ready here from a few years back. Much talking, more being needed. Knee pads. A lot of people worried about my knees on the roof. I'm alright, don't worry about me. Yeah, I'm sure if you're doing it all the time maybe, but actually when you kneel on those battens, especially the old battens, they're kind of sprung anyway, so they were wooden knee pads. One other comment that came up in one of the earlier roof videos I've just found is someone saying about cast iron guttering being extremely dangerous, that if it fell on your head it would kill you. I get that, but so would a slate or a ridge tile or a chimney pot. So I'm not sure. I mean, if you've ever tried to get cast iron, you might have seen how hard those things were to take off, let alone the downpipes and things which are basically mortared into the wall with those hooks. It's not coming off anytime soon. And the stuff that we're putting up is cast aluminium, and I would say that's probably not a million miles off the weight of the UPVC, maybe a bit heavier, but it's no way near as heavy as that cast iron. So you won't need to wear a hard hat if you visit our house. And a few more people were telling me I was an idiot for taking off my roof on my own in the British weather. I did put a lot of trust in the weather, but it was a blue skied week. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. That is the update. So we've got slates here, the membrane's on, the battens are finished, the woodwork I've just finished routing today, first few coats of paint are going on, guttering's ordered, scaffolding's still here, stone is going to be started this week, going to start kind of chipping out and breaking out all the old cement mortar on this end. And hopefully it won't be too long before we've got a new roof. So thank you for sticking with us, and if you do want to keep up to date with all these videos, just make sure when you're subscribed you also click that bell symbol, and then you'll get a notification when we put a video up. Next one will be the membrane. So thank you for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.